Hello, and welcome to me doing part one of however many parts of protest songs or uh, peace-related songs and stuff like that. And one of the things that I wanted to do with this is I'm trying not to do the really obvious ones, like give peace a chance and that. So I thought I'd go for ones that may be regarded as a bit more obscure or something like that. So anyway, without further ado, here comes part one, probably. So the first song that would probably come as a bit of a surprise, and I put the links to the actual songs down below so you can hear them for yourself too. They should be on YouTube. The first one that kind of had me thinking, my goodness me, in more ways than one, is this. Yes, Crazy Horses by the Osmonds. Now, you would think that it would be some kind of lovely little ditty about sort of frolicking with horses in the fields. Oh no, it's a Led Zeppelin type thing of the crazy horses referring to cars, actually. And in actual fact, the song literally came about in a garage. Wayne started playing the rock riff, so we're dealing with a whole lot of Osmonds in a garage. Sounds a bit. And Merrill came up with the melody, and Alan was the one who got the chords. Now the thing was is that they didn't know who was going to sing the thing. I mean, they couldn't have Donny singing this crazy rock riff, could they? So they decided that perhaps Jay, who had the most growly sort of voice out of them, would do the lead vocal. So that's how it came to be, and Merrill did the bridging section. So basically, the crazy horses are referring to your gas guzzling cars. And so, where they're sort of smoking up the place and destroying the planet with their fumes. So there's an irony of blaring that in your car, isn't there? Even if the French did ban it because they thought it was about drugs, something about smoking up the sky. Yeah. I don't know where they could have got the inference from. They really look like a bunch of Elvises there, don't they? I think they had there was the same designer was responsible for the Osmonds, Elvis, and David Cassidy, I think. And next up is I'm a Stranger Here by the Five Man Electrical Band. Now, I always say Five Man Electric Band, which is terrible for Googling. You get all kinds of sort of shop soiled things by doing that. I'm a Stranger Here basically is about an alien. He comes to Earth and he asks the leader or whoever it is that he comes to see, asks us to show him what we've done. And basically we're bragging about all of this stuff like our aeroplanes and our skyscrapers made of glass and steel and things like that. And what problem with this is that the alien actually doesn't like this and states that the atmosphere is hurting his eyes and the concrete mountains are blacking out the skies. And he decides to leave, but not before telling us that we were living in paradise, but paradise doesn't come twice. And so the alien leaves us to our own devices. There's a misheard lyric in there though, it's where it says, and a little white pill. Yeah, a little white pill that makes you feel a whole lot better when you get out of bed. You take one in the morning for the long day ahead. Now, I always used to think it was, you take one in the morning for a lovely head. Yes. A little bit blinded by the light, isn't it? Sorry for the flat singing too. And the next one in the list is Peace in Our Time by Cliff Richard. Whatever, Cliff. And this is, alright, it is your typical kind of cheesy Cliff. You look at the video clip and there he is up at some lectern doing his usual fist pumping, ooh, just love one another type stuff. And so it might be cheesy Cliff, but at least he's putting it out there that he's wanting us to have peace in our time. He wants us to have peace now, not tomorrow or whatever. He wants us to have it now. And the song was originally done by Eddie Money for the 1988 Olympics. So even with that, the spirit of togetherness was already there. It's just for whatever meaning you like. The lyrics are sort of fairly amorphous for that. Now, the next one I honestly thought I did have in Picture Sleeve. I have a copy of it, but my Picture Sleeve copy of it was stolen actually. Um, so I'm the only copy I have of it is what I'm about to show you. So the next one coming up, Like a Flower, but it isn't that one. It is by Paul McCartney, but it's not that one. It's this one. Come on, people. And as a little, I had the CDs, but it was stolen. But at least I was able to keep this. So like, I just need a big thing to shove in there. But I've always liked the way that Paul has done this one. It's okay. It's very Beatley. He was a Beatle. What does one expect? But it's got a kind of passion to it that just really gets you. And lyrically, because basically Paul is telling us to get our shit together because we've got a future and it's charging in. We can't do anything about that. So nothing to do with credit cards, not that kind of charge, or bulls either for that matter. There is a fair bit of bull out there though, isn't there? But basically, yeah, it gets the point across that if we don't do it, no one else will. The video to that is actually quite interesting too. That's the one I'll put in the link for you. And the next one is Family of Man by Three Dog Night. Yes, the same ones that were responsible for Jeremiah being a bullfrog was responsible for this. Actually, was written by Paul Williams, who gave us a few Carpenter's ditties actually. But the phrasing of the lyrics is just really it would not be your karaoke's friend, that's for sure, with that phrasing. But for me, it's actually kind of lyrically, it's a kind of cross between Crazy Horses and I'm a Stranger here. So it starts by telling us that there are 4-level highways across the land and they're building a home for this family of man. But in the end, though, it all gets just that little bit too big. It starts out small with these highways and stuff like that. But at the end of the song, it's just a little bit too much, and it tells us about the factories built where the rivers ran, with time running out for the family of man. So where it starts, the family of man is all positive and building things and stuff like that. But at the end, we've kind of stuffed it up. Now, my apologies if the next one flares back at you. It's because I've had to keep it in the cover because the paper cover for the single is quite buggered actually. But anyway, this is the last one, and this for me, yeah. Bring the Boys Home by Frida Payne. Now, this one for me is probably the most emotional. The way she sings it, the way it's constructed, it just... And as you can probably tell, it's an anti-Vietnam War song. And it bluntly tells you about the soldiers who were returning, and they were so young. Their average age was 19, 20. But the other thing was that it was noticed that a huge percentage of those people were black. So this song speaks to that, because you've got her singing Bring the Boys Home, and it's a call and response. The backing vocals is saying bring them back alive. And just that, something about it, tell you can tell it's getting... But certain aspects of the USA didn't particularly like that. And the US command from the American Forces Network banned the thing, actually banned it, for fear that it would give aid and comfort to the enemy. Really? You that? That's in some respects nothing's really changed. It's, it's like, really, you're that worried about what a song can do? I mean, bringing aid and comfort to the enemy. I mean, what's that? You're going to give them a great big blanket and sort of, here, snuggle in this and have some porridge? I mean, what's that? I mean, it's just a great way of not being able to face the responsibility of what you've done. But then governments are very good at that, aren't they? Even to this day. Probably even on this day you're watching this. So yeah, the USA didn't particularly like songs like that. Then you I mean, aid and comfort to the enemy. What's that? That'd be like automobile companies banning crazy horses, wouldn't it? Or aliens banning I'm a stranger here. So it's just, or the gay community banning come on people. That goes in the outtakes, doesn't it? But anyway, on that note, a bit more of a downer than I wanted it to be, so my apologies for that. Just, yeah. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this. There's a few more to be like this. Like I said, they're more like, obscure seems to be the wrong word, but they're ones, like I said at the start, I don't want them to be the more obvious ones, like, give peace a chance and stuff like that. It's the most obvious for me because it's the first one that came to mind. And so there'll be a couple others like this of songs that will spring to mind. And like I said, I'll put the links. The links will be down there. And if you did enjoy this, thank you very much for watching. And if you did enjoy this, please do the likes and subscribes and the bells and the whistles and all of that kind of stuff and blah 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 blah. And hopefully I shall see you in the next one. Please take care now. Okay. Ciao. Did I kind of nearly botch that up something fierce? Oh well.